Good afternoon, everybody. Let me get the screen going here. I'm glad you're all back this week. We're going to look at using formulas within specified grouping. Now, the first example I'm going to do is going to be specified grouping. And let me, just before I get going, let me make sure that I'm showing or sharing. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen here. Want to make sure. We're going to look at specified grouping. I'm going to do a simple specified grouping the way it's shown in the book. And then I'm going to show you how to do it in a formula, which makes it just a little bit easier to manage. And if you ever need to change your group, it's just a lot easier to manage if you do it in a formula. So let me go ahead and get the 30-second commercial out of the way. We're going to show a normal specified grouping. We're going to create a formula for specified grouping. And then I'm going to show you the advantage of using specified grouping with a formula. So training, we do customized CRUST reports. Well, you do the training with your data to build your reports. You can contact Tom Zadell or myself. Here's our contact information. Down at the bottom is a web where you can go and find the saved webinars. And then we're going to have some new information next week. But let's go ahead and let's get started. Oops, no, that's not for us. But let me go ahead and go down CRUST reports. Okay, what I'm doing, I'm actually hitting a Lawson database. I'm going to bring in GL amounts. Or actually, I'm using GL amounts table, and I have accounts. This could be used for anybody or anything. I'm just using that as an example. So what I'm going to do is I have accounts 4,000 and 5,000, and I know some of you folks aren't using Lawson or use a different database. I'm just using this, like I say, for an example. And I know in Lawson, we're going to do a profit and loss statement, and I need to have revenue, and I need to have expenses. Well, there's no table inside Lawson that says it is, but what I'm going to do is break these accounts up to revenues, expenses. Now, why do I use a specified grouping? Well, sometimes when you don't have a group that makes sense and you have to make it make sense, when you go to create a group, it has to be in alphabetical order, or descending, ascending, original order, or specified grouping. I used to work for Procter & Gamble, and I worked with Southwest region. Well, the problem is that the Southwest region is Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Well, part of my territory was actually Oregon and Washington. The thing is, that's nowhere in the Southwest, but because the client I worked with, I had to do some type of grouping to make the numbers part of the Southwest. So I use specified grouping. So with this, we're going to create a group. I'm going to use a specified group the way it's written in the book. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to create a book. All the 4,000, or start with 4,000, is going to be revenue. All the 5,000 is going to be expenses. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to insert a group. Here's our insert group button. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to go to accounts as our group, and our 4 options that we have is ascending, descending, specified, and original. Well, there's not a table inside the database that says what's revenue and what isn't. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to hit specified group or specified order. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to break my grouping up into two pieces. I want revenue. So I'm going to start off and type in revenue. Oops. If I could only type. So I'm going to start off with revenue. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to click on new. And at the very beginning, I picked the GL amounts account field, so it's looking at account as the field I'm going to break it up in. So I'm going to drop it down here. I'm going to tell it is between. I'm going to click on that, so I'm going to tell, okay, I want it to be between 4,000 and 4,999. That's going to be the revenue. So I'm going to click OK up here. And then I want to have an expense. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to type expense. Click on new down below here, and we're going to say expense is going to be anywhere between 5,000 and 4,999. I'm going to click OK. Now, the thing is about using specified order. What happens if I have accounts inside my database that's not within this grouping? Well, what's going to happen, it's going to go to the Others tab. So I go to the Others tab. I'm going to tell it, well, what I can do is discard all others so that only the 4,000 and 5,000 show up. Or I can put put all together with the thing called others. So there's actually 3 groups. There's revenue, expense, and others. Or I can leave in their own group. Right now I'm going to go ahead and just leave in their own group. And there's, I mean, what I'm saying, all I have in here right now is just 4,000, 5,000 anyway. So I'm going to click OK. And the thing is, I have the account and the revenue. Count and the revenue. So I'm going to flip these two so that revenue is going to be the first group. And the reason I have 2 groups, I took the account, it was in the detail line, which it ran and ran and ran and ran. I have multiples, and I wanted to just show it one time. So I rolled it up to group 1, and I'll show you how I did that if you're interested. So now I have my specified group is first group, and then the account is the second group. I'm going to hit preview here. Whoops. The thing is that, what did I do? I need to fix my expenses because they're not showing up down here. So I'm going to go back up to I can go to the left-hand side where it says GH1, or I go to the Group Expert up here and click on it, find out what's going on up here. So I'm going to go to Specify Grouping, what's highlighted there, and then I'm going to go to Options down here, and then I'm going to go back to Specified Order, find out what went on. Here's Expense, okay, let's go in there, and we said, what do we call that? Well, it's supposed to be in between 5,000 and, so y'all are probably watching and didn't tell me, it should have been 59999. Now I did that on purpose, yeah, right. And I'm going to click OK here. I'm going to click OK there. And I'm going to go back. I like it when it breaks so that we go back in there and have to go fix it so you can see how it gets fixed as well. So right now we have revenue, and all the 4,000 side revenue and expenses inside expenses. Now I built this report in the beginning. Let me show you what I actually did. I'll come back to that in just a second. The first group is, let me don't suppress. What happened is, see how 401 repeats itself? When you go to do a profit and loss, you're going to have the 401s repeat itself, so there's like 1,000 of them. All I did was I rolled it up. I created my first group called Account in Ascending Order and just put that up there. Now the thing is, you're going to have numbers down here that you're going to roll up. We're not worried about that. In fact, we may build a profit and loss sometime. I just want to show the specified grouping right now. So that's specified grouping, how the book shows you how to do it. Let me show you just a different way. So let me go back. I'm going to delete my group that's specified. This one's specified. This one's ascending. I'm going to get my specified group. I'm going to push it off. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to click OK, so we just have our accounts again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the formula field, and here's a formula called grouping. It's in. But what I'm doing is say if the account field, let me make that full screen so it's easier to see. So the account field is in 4,000 to 49999. Then let's call this revenue. Else, and we'll go back down if our account field again. Oops. If our account field again is in 5,000 to 5,999, then we're going to call that expense. All right, let's leave it. Oops. Undo. Save and close. Now I'm going to go back to the insert a group again, and I want to do it based on the formula this time. So I'm going to go over here where it says the account field. I'm going to do a drop down. I'm going to find the formula called grouping, and I want to do this in specified order. So let's pick specified, and I'm going to call the first one revenue. And we'll select new. And then this is going to be where revenue is going to be equal to revenue. And it has to match exactly what's in our formula. So there's sometimes I may take that formula, stick it in a spreadsheet, and copy it and paste it in here because this, whatever's inside this revenue, equal to revenue, has to match what's inside the formula. So I'm going to click OK here. And we'll go back up again and we'll type expense. And select new here, and then it's going to be equal to expense. I'm going to click OK, and I need to put that as group 1. So I'm going to take the one we just created, which is group 2, and make it group 1 so it's on top, and hit preview. Now we have revenue expense again. You're thinking, well, that's cute. I see what you did, but why is that an advantage? Well, now what happens is I'm going to go back over here to my grouping, and let's look down here at 513. 513, for some reason, it should be a revenue. Even though it's expense number, it needs to be inside the revenue grouping. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to go to grouping formula. I'm going to right-click on this and edit it. And I'm going to go up here to where it says for accounts in 5 to 999, and the account is equal to 5012. Then make that revenue, else the expense. Now I'm looking at account or account description from GL amounts or GL chart detail. You can mix and match different fields in here to get your revenue, where specified group will allow you to do that. But here I'm using the same field, just a different formula. So now when I save and close this, I look at it. Let's go back to page 1, or there's expense. Where is revenue? Uh-oh, what'd I do? I should have been or. See, I should have caught me. You did. I'm going to go back. That was wrong. That should have been where it's, you caught me. That should have been an or. You have revenue, your 4,000 number, and also revenue is 5012. And then so within a formula over here to the right-hand side, if you have different, like 3 levels of groupings, we'll go in, here's group 1, group 2, group 3. Next week, we're going to go down and break this up even more. So if I go down to, I'm going to go GL chart detail. Just for a second, I'm going to grab the account description here and pull that over. And you're going to notice that we have different revenues on the side here. I need to break these up into different groups as well. Next week, we're going to take what we have here and build it up where we have a group that's under our specified group in here. I'm just showing you an easier way of doing it. So thank you for joining in this week. If you have any suggestions on things you want covered, just shoot me an email. I'll try to get them in here as quick as I can and hopefully as thorough as I can. I appreciate your patience and your participation. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks.